Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show. Special guest today is Darren Thomas, is the founder and president of Game Vision. And Darren, thanks for coming on ProView Networks, but also congratulations to winning the APS streaming contract for the next 3 years.
Yeah, we worked on that a long time, and uh, I was everybody there was great, and we went through a lot of iterations and discussions, and hopefully we have a product that I feel like will be exciting for the area, and hope to grow this thing out.
Well, give us, a Reader's Digest, a little background of you and just kind of where you've been, and then how you got to where you're at today.
Well, mine's a little bit of a zigzagging course, but my background, I guess, for the work that we're doing here has been film and television things. But it started out in actually producing live events years and years and years ago. My first iteration, I was just talking with some people that were on some shows that we did back in the late '90s, and from there ended up working. Starting a film company that was really kind of focused on some narratives and documentaries, and moved. We were living in California, and enjoyed that. I'm a transplant. I was originally from Alabama and then lived out there. But from there, in the around 2010 or 12, we were in the middle of doing some projects with MGM and with a gaming company and some other technologies, and then a couple of film projects with animation with Nickelodeon. And my son happened to be playing Little League football and was real involved in that. And so I like making pictures and doing things. So I started shooting some stuff and just kind of messing around, just something to keep my ADHD self occupied while he was playing. And it was just a lot of fun. But the way my brain works is I started to realize that we had great pictures, and all the parents were like, "Oh man, I need to get a hold of this. I need to get all this footage. I need to footage my kid. I need to footage my kid." And it just kept kind of growing. And so I thought, well, I wonder what the model would look like, and just kind of ruminated on that for a while. And then one day it sort of clicked in my head that there might be a model for this because there was such a demand for it. And started working on that. That's kind of how it all sort of back then. Then around 2015, I think it was, I wrote a white paper about how the future of kind of sports broadcasting was combining multiple uh, multiple work processes, like for game footage for the coaches and then broadcast. But how do you make those two up at an equal level, and how can you do that? And that technology's finally caught up now. So it's funny. I look back at that white paper the other day, and everything that I'd written back in 2015 now is kind of the blueprint for what we're working on now.
Well, I tell you, I know ProView is excited. We get to do APS games. We had a little sabbatical right there. I guess you took a little
Yeah,
sabbatical for 6 7 months, but it's great that the fans are in New Mexico are very excited, and everything has been working very efficiently with Game Vision.
yeah. The new parts of it, I think the things that make this exciting, that we're excited about launching in uh, coming up for the fall. So we have this sort of soft launch, we call it, and I think that worked probably as well as we could have expected. Uh, it's people are able to see the games. You guys have been handling the local games, and I don't know of anybody. You guys do it as well as anybody in this market, and so I think that's been, that's made it an easy transition, and people have been so excited about it, and we're glad to kind of jump into this. But what's going to make the difference going forward is the volume of coverage. By working with our new partner, PlaySide Cameras, uh, we're able to automate the process of production, which means we can be more places. Because I know with ProView, I don't care how many games you want to do. It's just a limitation of bodies. You just can't find enough people to do the volume of games that are out there. And I think this will give us an opportunity to do something around. I think we've looked at it. It's over 2,500 or something events for APS coming up starting this year. So the automation process is the difficult part, but that's the part that's going to set it apart and make it really really great.
Well, kind of put that in perspective, I think ProView does between 400 and 450 games, and so basically it's going to be 6 times the amount of the games,
Yeah.
and kind of talk about how that's going to work. I mean, and how we're going how that's all going to be processed over the next 6 months.
Yeah, and I the way that typically, so the way we're going to handle that is this: we made an agreement with uh, PlaySight. Now, PlaySight is one of two camera companies that have AI technology that allow for production. Now, you think about it: whenever there's a basketball game and you got people going back and forth down the court, you've got to have a person there, and they've got to follow the camera, and they've got to do their thing. But what this technology does is that it is creating it's it's multiple cameras kind of stitched together, looking at the entire court at all times. But what it's doing is covering out the frame, which is your size frame on your TV, like you have a 1080 TV, and it's going to follow that frame inside of it. And it knows how to follow the ball and the people, and it knows how to keep up with the game just like a regular camera op would. And so to be able to install those in the gym, run that gives us a great vision of that. It lets us add graphics. You can have a play-by-play person. We're encouraging all the schools to use their students and stuff when they want to as their play-by-play. Give them the opportunity to develop that. You've always got students in there that would love to be an on-air personality, and there's a great opportunity. They just to plug in and start calling the game. It's pretty simple, but where it gets really great, we have it for soccer. I think we're on 5 fields for soccer, and we're on something like we're on the 3 football fields, and then we'll advance to the softball and the baseball field. So there's 40 something systems that are going in, and so going back to what you said, it's 6 times the number of games. That allows us to have the freshman games, the JV games, the girls, the guys, the varsity games. It lets us go on everything. Yeah, there's a great image right there. Yeah, of the PlaySide cameras, and but for football, let me give you an example. But for football, it's going to be even better because we're able to put cameras in the end zones on top, and we're using a different style of technology for the follow. But because the difference between football and all over the other sports is that the goal is to hide the ball. And so you can't really depend on an algorithm to look for the ball. It has to use some other things and some oversight by a person who's also viewing the game at the same time. So it's really exciting to be able to go through and add that part to it, and then build out from that foundation the things that we will be able to start delivering to coaches, some of our analytics and other pieces. And we're really using APS out here as a proving ground. So they're going to get a lot of cool pieces of technology and a lot of things to play with that other districts and other places around the country will have to wait on. They're going to get it first, and they're going to be a place to get feedback from these coaches.
I'll tell you what, we're going to go to the Dream Style top 10 plays of the week, and then we're going to come back and we'll give us a little carrot on some of those features when we come back.
Oh, exciting! We'll see that.
Lazos, Gadman, Martin, 3-ball, yep. Love back up with the ball. Beautiful shot. I tell you what, it's Ava Love. This has been her quarter. Julia Espinosa with a good pass from Lee, and she makes the layup, and she is fouled.
To Gossett.
They're going to have to double team. Rerun's got to double team.
Leave it underneath for Gossett, and the layup and the foul. Chance of a 3-point play.
Jack Cuts, beautiful pass. Great ball movement, and Rivera has his first 2 of the game. the Love, top of the key. Nice shot by Love.
The high screens. Knocked away by Hill, who takes it up with the left hand and scores. Andrew Hill has 14 in the game. Hold out. Rebound, Gossett, he saves it to Perez. He's got Amos in front of the pack, wide open on the layup, the block, but the putback from Perez.
To 8, or rather 7. And Ashton Capps, that's 3 steals that led to buckets, make it 4, yes! Timeout taken by Rio Grande, you got
Nice move from Hill, and he throws it down. Andrew Hill ties the game at 12.
Dream style stucco is the way to go. A Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco.
Hey, welcome back, Steve Davis Show. We got Darren Thompson here at Game Vision and CEO, and I guess you're everything. I mean, you're CEO, you're the founder and owner of Game Vision. So it's great to have you on, and some of the things, you know, the features is what's so impressive once the system is in process. Talk about some of the things we're going to see with these features.
Yeah, this is a really exciting stuff. I was just watching the top 10, and number 2 on that list, that the girl, she was a one-man, she was a wrecking crew on the stealing ball with putbacks. So you take a person like that, you take a player, and one of the neat features that we have that we worked on a few years ago that I'm probably the most excited about is a application or program or algorithm that you would call it called VStat. And VStat is a video-centric, dynamically indexed stat. We call it VStat. And what that means is that when you saw those top 10 plays there, you saw those different players doing great things, and in that, as the game is progressing and those things are happening, all of these stats will accumulate for players. Now, the great thing is that normally what we do is we have to go back and look to see who did what or what. As that information, though, is put into the system, when the game is over, you're a coach, you're a sports writer, your show here, Steve. Let's say the girl that was doing all those great plays there, that at the second clip there. You could just click her name and look at every play that she was in from every camera angle, because what's happening is we're taking the video and we're embedding it into the stat. So you don't just read a stat anymore. You don't just look and say, okay, she had X number of block shots, but that doesn't really tell how well she was playing, right? She had this many block shots, she made this many baskets. That's a combined shot right there. That's amazing. She stole the ball and put it right back and right in a row. I mean, it's just heads up play. So VStat allows you to hit that stat and look at it and read it and watch it. And it lets you have a metric as a coach to be able to go through and see anything at any time. And that's one of the ones that we're really excited. Football, basketball, soccer, it doesn't matter what sport it is. You can go through and you can use that, and it lets you assimilate information in a way that's quicker. It also lets you look at, like in football, lets you break down tendencies and different analytics, but we're adding more and more of those breakdowns for them and things that can happen. And our goal is to, whenever it's fully realized, as we're finishing all the automation of this and some of the new features that we're bringing into it, you can go in at halftime if you're a football coach, and you could pull up the first half, and you could say, well, I want to look at my time of possession. Well, just click on time of possession, and it's going to bring up every play that was in that time of possession. You could say, well, I want to look at my third down conversions because we were terrible on third down, or we were great on third down conversions, or whichever it is. And you can look at every third down conversion, and that information now is at your fingertips, as you know, within minutes, rather than waiting 24 hours for breakdown and like some of the other services offer and stuff like that.
One of the features
so-
that I'm excited about is actually if there is an announcer or not an announcer, is the
Right.
score. You're going to be able to see the scoreboard and the clock, and
Right.
that's one of the things with other systems that people see that they don't know what they see
They
the
don't know what time
game
it is,
and
right.
they don't know what the time is, and they don't know
Right.
those things, and that's speak on that behalf.
Yeah, so that's one of the biggest ones. If you don't have a play-by-play person there, you don't have somebody running that, you don't know when the game's happening, you don't really know the story of the game. And we are conditioned now watching sports that if you don't see a clock that tells you how many more timeouts there are, it tells you how long it is, what quarter you're in, or what half you're in, and the score, and just the basics. And you need that information. What we been working with a company. And a lot of people use them. We've been working with this company for a long time called Sportscast. And Sportscast is an interface. And what that interface does is it takes the scoreboard, where all of them have a scoreboard controller at the school and that kind of thing. And it interfaces between that and then to the scoreboard. And it reads the data coming off of it. And it converts it to something like right now, as you're watching this show right now, and you see the chyron across the bottom that converts that information right there. Well, what that is that's a piece of data called live XML data that has to tell it that graphic is the graphic, or my name starts with a D, and it tells us that that's the Steve Davis show, the graphics are the graphics. Well, what this does is it translates all of that information that's coming off of the scoreboard into usable real-time graphics. That's how we get the clock. That's how we get we get any information that they put in, like if there's a foul, if there's if they're keeping up with fouls on the scoreboard, the number of fouls or possessions or timeouts remaining, where the ball is on, if it's a football, where the position of the ball, down distance, all of that information is in there. So it's really great. Now, what's even better for that too, and from a business perspective too, is that we have timeouts, we have end of quarters, we have halftime. It also allows us to then bring in advertisers to help pay for all of this, and it helps that process because the school gets a certain number of those ads in each one of those. So keeping in mind that one of the biggest elements of this, and the reason why, when we succeed at this and the school system succeeds at this, this is truly fulfilling the mission of this, which is providing them a revenue stream. And we're glad to be able to do that. And so we're programming in and been building in things called advertising cues in there, so that when there's just dead time in there, the ads can play in things that they can load in themselves that they've sold, and that's an additional revenue for each of the schools as they want to use that, which is nobody else has done that. There's not a system out there right now that's running that. So
Well,
we're excited.
it really opens up. I guess the marketing part is the unknown. Okay, because there's going to be. I mean, everything's based on viewers and unique views and things like that. And when you're doing over 2,500 games, it represents a lot of people and a lot of eyeballs. And I think that once the marketing and people understand that it's a fundraiser, and 20% of that money goes back to APS, and that's the thing that is so powerful about this, is that it seems like we're always hearing of athletic cuts for APS sports. This is a system that can really help make that deficit up.
Yeah, and one of the things that, and I think you and I've talked about this off camera. We've talked about this in that, and I've talked to the athletic director Adrian Ortega and the team over there with the guys and the procurement office with Nathaniel, those guys over there. They're amazing, and that was one of the things we were talking about, what their needs were. Like, what are your needs? And they were saying, look, we don't really know what we make when we're using these other systems. We're not aware of that. And we don't know how the splits are done. We don't know we're not exactly sure how that works. And I said, well, let's talk about how this system could benefit you better, and then let us try to make sure that that's running the right way. And what we were able to do, it was a very simple thing, and I was very excited about it, but we were able to just simply go in and say, how about we build you access to your account and let you as a school system, as a district, see what you're earning on a daily basis, what sales and which of the schools and even which of the teams inside of that school are generating the most, because then you can look at how you handle your own finances and take some ownership in that, because that's your revenue. So you should know what your revenue is. And honestly, the only things that we deduct for, and we make it very clear to everybody, so there's no transparency and complete transparency, is that the transaction fees that we both, whatever that, if it's credit card transaction fees or those, and there's three small fees in there, the paywall fees and the transaction fees and part of a server fee that goes with that transaction. They're minimal. They're very, very, very tiny compared to everything else. So this allows for such an easy way for them to just get behind it. I mean, here's the way we look at this. There's 6,500 athletes, give or take, in the APS district, and they all have to end up raising money every year. I did. My kid played sports through high school and all through that period of time. You have to raise money. If you do that, then if each one of them just did 2 subscriptions throughout their period of time, it's roughly about 13,000 subscriptions in that would close any deficits, I think, that we were talking about. That would close all the deficits that APS would have for their athletic department. And it's giving them something that's better than cakes and cookies or other things. It's something they can watch and see, and they got an entire year to watch all the content that they want to go to. And so it's exciting. I think that part of it is really cool. And if they handle it right, then it's a huge win for them.
I'll tell you what, we're going to take another break. We're going to talk more about game vision and about when this is all going to start taking place.
All right.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Hey, welcome back, Steve Davis Show. We have Darren Thomas, the founder and president of Game Vision, and again, thanks for coming on. I know you're working hard to get these things. A lot of moving parts right now, but one thing, it will be on a paywall, and I don't think that paywall has been determined, but people. How do we find Game Vision? I guess that's
right. Well, yeah, Game Vision is easy. It's a different extension, so I want everybody to make sure it's gamevision.io instead of .com or anything. It's .io, and so we want to use You can use that to get us anything you want to, to get to us, which we like. But the going back to the idea of the paywall and how we address that, we're gonna try as we get into this in the fall, and it begins to unfold, and we see some really cool parts of this happening. Uh, we'll be featuring a game, several games a week that with the volume that we have, that we're gonna have a number of free games that you can just go in there and watch, and we're looking at that method as well. That we'll run those. There you go. That's it right there. There you go. GameVision.io. And there'll be some really great things. You can, we're opening up right now. We're in the process of developing 2 different apps, one for Android and one for iOS that you can use. You'll be able to watch it on your Roku and Apple TV and Chromecast and some things that different places like that, which we're really make that as easy as possible. But each of those are we're spending, because this thing, we were hoping to have had it done earlier last year, and we kind of had to pause until some other things worked out, as these contracts typically go. So when it finally came around, we ramped up everybody, and we have 3 different teams that are working on different aspects of this with the programming, and a lot of people don't realize what I guess what goes into it. Of it's not just when you have over 2,000 games or 2,000 events going on. How do you manage that? Because you can't have a person sitting behind the scenes typing. Okay, well, I got to look up this calendar and say, here's a Albuquerque High School is playing Highlands. I got to make sure that I have that in there. It has to, when they upload their schedules, what we have to program now, which does not exist, is that what we had to go build was things to where it says, okay, well, I know that this is APS boys varsity basketball and it's Highlands boys varsity basketball, and I've got to check the schedules and make sure that I've got their logos, their colors, and everything, and it automatically puts it into all of the systems, loads the pages, creates the page, creates the broadcast, and then counts it down and then starts it at the right time. What we do is we have people sitting back then as we have those games that are watching, and there's benchmarks of time where the cameras can turn on and look at things and go, hey, I don't see any movement, or is this game happy? Is there a problem or anything like that? So we're trying to make that as smooth of a process as possible, because you add more schools as we grow outside of APS and outside of New Mexico and further, you're adding just thousands and thousands and thousands of events on a regular basis, and that's automation is everything at this point.
Well, the key, like you said, is automation, and it's the beauty of this. So, if I'm understanding correctly, the installation is going to start in end of March, April, and supposed to be installed by May. And basically, you got May, you got June and July, and we have an early season this year starting football. It actually ends. APS starting football, I think, on July 29th to 30th of the deal. So. A lot of pressure is going to be put on you there.
Well, and that's going to be even more so because that our other company, Live Play, which is the broadcast, which is a production company similar to you guys, and we've worked everybody and all, just as disclosure, Steve and I have worked together on the Connie Mack World Series for the last couple of years, and really have gotten to know each other through that. You and I have gotten to know each other really well through that process. And this past year, then we ended up doing a documentary afterwards, and but that event that we're going to do for CBS Sports and coming up, that happens that first weekend. So I'm going to be having everything tested way in advance before even July shows up, and it's running and everything is nailed down, is going to be vital for my not having a coronary. I think that's. You and I.
Hey, Darren, hey, thanks for coming on the Steve Davis Show, and good luck with your project, and there will be a ProView Networks too, so doing games, so people need to know that.
You guys are still very much, and I want everybody to know ProView is our preferred vendor, and you guys y'all set a standard up there, and we appreciate it, and love working with you guys.
All right, Darren, we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you.